Hello, 7th graders. Today's lesson is lesson 138, and we are going to be discussing pages 290 to 291. That's 290 to 291. So if you haven't read it, go ahead and pause this video for a moment and take time to read those 2 pages, including the consequences and British invasion, that little purple part, okay? And as you are reading, I will wait. I'll sing you a song. The devil wants everybody grumpy. The devil wants everybody sad. The devil wants everybody grumpy, 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 and he doesn't want anybody glad. But Jesus wants everybody happy, and Jesus wants everybody glad. Jesus wants everybody happy, 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 and he doesn't want anybody mad. Okay. All right. I'm sure you just love that song. Miss me singing to you, don't you? Okay, so yesterday we were talking a little bit about Russia's invasion, imperialism of Russia, okay? And we talked a little bit about the Decembrist revolt and Nicholas I and how these people didn't like him being in charge, and so a lot of people were hung because of it. And then we talked about Alexander II and how he abolished serfdom, and then Alexander III, he suppressed and censored and persecuted those who considered threats, and then we talked a little bit about the invasion of Napoleon, okay? And so today these are some guiding questions. We're gonna talk about the British invasion. Now, for a long time, Britain had control over India. And it wasn't until recently, just in the last few decades, where they didn't anymore. But so here are some guiding questions as we're discussing this. How did Britain increase its power over India in the 19th century? And what were the consequences of British control in India? Okay, so first of all, if you go all the way back to chapter 11, we learned about the Mongol Empire and how the Mongol Empire had complete control over India. But just like other empires in the history of history, they started declining, and British took control. The British East India Company took control over that. And so what happened was Britain and France, they never got along. So whatever Britain did, France seemed to do as well, or want to do as well, vice versa too. They didn't like each other at all. And so, and I think that's one of the reasons why France decided to help the Americans during the Revolutionary War, or the colonists. We weren't Americans then. So France decided to go into this fighting over control, and that's where you get the Battle of Plassey with the France. And of course, this is just a battle. I put 2 links in there for you to watch, 2 extra videos, one on Robert Clive, who led this Battle of Plassey, and then also the Battle of Plassey, okay? So basically, this man defeated a large French force, okay? He didn't have very many people to help. He just did it with just a few people. It was like 3,000, I think. And anyway, so they were in war with France for a while, and then England ended up getting complete control over it. Complete control. Now, the one thing is that there's one term that you're going to talk about, is the sepoy. Sepoy are Indian soldiers that the British hired, and there's going to be a mutiny with the sepoy people. What would happen was they would give these sepoy, or these Indians, ammunition, not ammunition and rifles. And how they used to use the cartridges, they used to have to rip the cartridges off and then pour in the ammunition. Well, a lot of it was greased with cow fat or pork fat. But the thing is, you have Muslims and you have people from India, and the Indian people, they don't eat cows, and the Muslim people don't eat pork. So you have these people with these two different religions that are going to like, no, we're not going to do this, and they a lot of mistrust, and a lot of revolting and not fighting, and a lot of people lost their lives on both sides because of this misunderstanding and this distrust. Okay, so today's lesson's not going to be that long. It's just kind of like a review. But when we talk about the consequences of British rule, some of the things. First of all, when you think of India, India has thousands and thousands of people. I mean, they're gonna in about 10 years they're gonna probably be the #1 country in the world as far as population, more so than China. But they not only have thousands and billions of people, they also have a lot of different religions and a lot of different languages. And so, I just lost my place. And so, the British people needed to stabilize them. And it was not very easy to do that. So what they would do is they didn't want missionaries to go in to the country, which is weird, but like they would try to make them go somewhere else to write the Bible or to spread the gospel. They did their best to not allow that to happen, because they wanted to have complete control. And that was one of the things they thought they could control, was the fact of not allowing missionaries to change, because they thought if someone gets saved, then they're not going to want to follow the British officials. Let's see, another thing, Queen Victoria proclaimed a policy of non-interference. She said, she hindered missionary efforts to spread the gospel and to bring out reforms to protect women, children, and the outcasts in Indian society. India is still with the caste system. You can't marry outside your caste and things like that. So that was one thing. But there are some, even though they had a lot of negative aspects, they also had a lot of positive. They increased in agriculture. They brought railroads to India. They brought the telegraph to India. They brought better education to India. And eventually, they were able to get the missionaries in, but the missionaries came in as guise of, an educator or some military person. They didn't say, well, they didn't take the title missionaries. They took it as a teacher. Teachers could go in and teach them about the Lord. Okay? They built irrigation canals. They developed raw materials such as tea and cotton, and they were bigger with the tea industry than China was. And let's see, and rubber, that's another thing. They did a lot of rubber, and you saw a video about how they made rubber back then too. So, and then they had a postal system. So those are some pictures. Like I said,